Why are we uninspired as filmmakers? Well, this is a question that I've been working through personally because I've had this desire to shoot more passion projects. You know, we're all supposed to. Everyone you hear on YouTube or even the best filmmakers in the world will say, shoot more passion projects. And so I've been working through this idea, like, why do I not feel inspired to shoot these passion projects? And in my experience, there's three main things that I find myself doing that I guess instills this uninspired feeling. So I want to walk through those three things with you. Maybe some of them you relate to. And then I want to try to, I guess, process our way out of it. I think that I've been blaming my uninspiration on external forces. And what I mean by that is I always have a reason for why I'm not inspired. Maybe it's that I haven't watched any amazing movies recently, or that, I just am not stumbling onto inspiration on Instagram, or, maybe it's just that I'm too busy to be inspired. And like these external reasons, these things that I'm blaming my uninspiration on, I think are all in an effort for me to, I guess, rationalize or justify the fact that I just don't feel inspired. I would say in the last 6 months to a year, I've slowly stopped writing down ideas. Well, I'll just say this. I've had the same ideas notebook for a really long time, and I go through to-do list notebooks like every 6 months. So I'm clearly writing down the tasks that I have to do instead of writing down ideas. And that kind of leads me into the last thing I find myself doing, which is just I'm prioritizing my own tasks that I have to get done, but also tasks that other people want me to get done. And if you have a job, then obviously you have to do that to some extent, but it's a bit weird because I think we all have a small moment where we can decide what we're going to prioritize. Maybe you don't get to prioritize your entire day based on what you want to do, but I think that we all can kind of find ourselves in a place where we at least have 30 minutes. We at least have an hour a day. If we're honest with ourselves, I mean, I've got 2-3 hours a day that I get to decide whatever I want to do with. I also get up at 5 a.m., so that gets me a lot of time there. But, I didn't get up at 5 a.m. this morning. I got up like 6:30. But just being honest with you, we all have those moments where, if we're really honest, we could change how we spend certain areas of the day, or at least I could. And I think that's what makes it difficult, is because it doesn't feel like we have that time. But you're in luck, because whether you're blaming external forces or you're, just waiting on inspiration to magically hit you, whether you're too busy or you just aren't prioritizing your time, I think this is a good time for us to take, I kid you not, 5 minutes and give ourselves time to write down some ideas. So as weird as this is in the middle of a YouTube video, you're probably going to stop watching because of this, but I don't care. What we're going to do is I'm going to set a 5-minute timer on my phone, and I've got my ideas only notebook. I don't know if it's focused, but I've got my notebook, and I'm going to write down ideas. You can write down ideas as well. And ideally I would get a piece of paper because it'll be less distracting than your phone. And then I'm going to come back in 5 minutes, and we don't have to talk about the ideas, but we're going to talk about some ways that we can get out of this uninspired feeling, or at least ways that I'm going to try and get out of it. And if it helps you, then it helps you. Okay, here we go. That was crazy. I almost got distracted. Okay. Five minutes. Let's go. Okay, that's 5 minutes. We got a little overexposed here, but we did it. I don't know if that was as scary for you as it was for me. I wrote down like 3 ideas. I don't know if they're any good, but it doesn't really matter, because I think taking 5 minutes like that to just take the time and write down ideas and just be somewhere where nothing's going on and your whole focus is just focusing on writing down ideas, I think is beneficial. In a perfect world, you'd have some sort of prompt maybe that you could work off of, or something that would kind of get your mind started. For me, I usually default to my environment, but 3 ideas is what I wrote down, so nothing crazy. But I think if we want to get out of this uninspired feeling, we got to do more of that. Like, I have to understand that if I want to create more passion projects like I say that I do, I have to give myself time to sit and do nothing with a notebook and a pen in my hand and write down whatever comes to mind. What I find is that anytime I do that, some of the same ideas keep coming up. And if I look back probably across all my ideas in the past, they're all probably around the same type of idea. And it's because I think until I get those ideas out, I'm just not going to be able to move on. I think something else that I didn't mention earlier that is a reason why I struggle to be inspired. I think I have this idea in my head that because, like, if I create one of these ideas that I have thought about, it has to be perfect. It has to be to the level of other people that I see. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to get off Instagram as a filmmaker. I make a ton of content on Instagram. We can't look at everyone around us and think, oh, they just have it all figured out. They're just making great videos all the time. If you look really closely, some of the best filmmakers make 4, maybe 6 things a year that they are like stoked about. And that is a pretty low bar. That's 1 passion project per quarter. So I think we can do something like that. First, obviously, we have to give ourselves time to sit and think. No devices, just with the notebook. But second, as those ideas come out, I've got to be down and you've got to be down to just execute on them. Sometimes it just takes getting the ideas out there, regardless of the quality, that can kind of jumpstart the idea flow. Because if your brain understands, at least this is how I think about it, if my brain understands that I can create the ideas that come out on paper, then it's more willing to generate more ideas to come out onto paper. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's at least how it feels for me. Lastly, I think that we just have to sit down and be honest with ourselves and say, what is holding me back? What are the things that I'm blaming? Like, for me, I'm blaming the fact that I'm too busy, or that I don't see I don't see a ton of inspiring things all the time. And so my brain's not naturally inspired, but that's like, I'm looking for external inspiration in that for some reason. And that's just not, like, I can't rely on an external force to inspire me. It's got to come from within. And the only way that that can happen is by setting those external forces aside and like actually just seeing what inspiration is there. Now, I can already feel it though, that a lot of people feel like even if they did have an idea, that it would be hard to execute, or that they don't have the resources to do it. So something that I like to do, and what I just did in our little idea time was, or a little inspiration time, was I looked around at the environment around me, and I thought about the people that I know and the things that they do. And the reason that I do that is because the ideas that are close to you, that are like within arm's reach, that you know you can execute, or you know you have someone who does the thing you want to film, those are the kind of ideas that are the easiest to execute. And I find that we can kind of create this snowball method by executing on small, easy, like low-hanging fruit ideas that then gets us started and gets us going into executing bigger ideas. This does 2 things. 1, it shows yourself that you can actually do it. You can actually execute on these ideas. But 2, it shows the people around you that you're making cool stuff. And if you want to execute on any ideas that are bigger and, larger and grander in scale, then you need other people to help you. And so to be able to show other people around you that, hey, you're executing on these cool ideas, you're making cool stuff, naturally people are going to want to be involved in that. The perfect example for me is a guy named Adam who started a group of filmmakers called Moon Era Films. And Over the last 2 years, we've shot 5 short films, and it's all because Adam, he used to do music. I think he still does music, but he started executing on these music videos. He was learning, he was growing, he was just getting his ideas out there. And as he started to do that, him and his cousin Rob, then they started bringing in more people. And I was a part of one of those music videos, and it was a really fun experience with friends. And then like 2 years later, he hits me up and he's like, hey, let's do a short film. So we shot a short film that turns out like went around to a bunch of festivals and stuff. And it just was like a proof to us and all the other people that were in the group that we could execute on the ideas that we had. And so you just have to convince yourself that you can do that by actually executing on those ideas. And then you have to show other people around you that, hey, you are going to execute on and make cool stuff. And that's going to get them bought in as well. So I by no means have this figured out. That's just been my experience through someone else that is further along in this inspiration journey, much further along than I am. I hope this is helpful to you. I hope that through this video, you've been able to go back to that place and find some inspiration. And one last thing I'll say is that something that I heard a friend do recently, and I was like, oh, I should do that. He was actually going back through all of his old ideas, looking at any place that he would have written down ideas and trying to almost like resurrect those ideas or regurgitate like the feeling that he had when he wrote those ideas down and then execute on them. And so I think that for me, that's something that I'm going to do like today. And I'm going to go through and look through old ideas. So as we end the video on that note, let me know in the comments, like write down in the comments an idea that you're going to execute on, an idea that you just found. Maybe you wrote it down in our 5 minutes of inspiration time. I don't know what to call that, but maybe you wrote it down in our 5 minutes of journaling. Maybe it's an old idea that you want to bring to life, but write down in the comments an idea and then let me know how it goes. Should I start a Discord? I don't know if that would be helpful for videos like this, but I'm kind of been like toying around with like a newsletter or a Discord or something like that. And I feel like the newsletter, at least I'm not a big newsletter reader, so I feel like you maybe aren't either, but some sort of deeper interaction where we can talk about the ideas we're making and talk about the gear we're using to make those ideas and all that. I don't know. If you like that idea, I'll throw it together. If you don't, also let me know. But your idea, and if you think we should do a Discord, in the comments. My idea will be down there in the comments as well. And yeah, let's just get out there and make better films.